in the Greenbelt, as I said it to you. It's part of the Housing Land Accessibility Agreement, and it's got identified for 184 houses as part of the LDF framework. Now, also, it was actually part of the South East Master Plan and published in November 2009 for 30 houses on a site of 2.47 acres. So, obviously, there's two things there to look at very carefully.
Thank you very much for inviting me along to hear your views this evening, and thank you to everyone involved in organising this meeting. As Terry said, I think that the turnout here, the fact that we have packed a hall and it's standing room only at the back, is a good indication of the feeling that there is about this proposal. Now, as has already been explained, for elected members, whether they sit on planning or not, and for me as your Member of Parliament, it is difficult to get what I will help, I hope, be able to facilitate, is to get your voice heard, is to help the local forum, the steering group, make sure that you are putting your voice forward, that your views are being heard by those who are going to actually decide this application. And I will support you 100% of the way in doing that. And I will do what I can to help make sure that your voices are heard. There is a problem with housing in Thurrock, we know that. We don't want to see the loss of our green spaces, but we also don't want to see the loss of our young people because they can't find somewhere to live. And so there is a balance that has to be struck. Now, I'm not saying that this is the right place for that balance to be struck, because I think it is the wrong place on the face of it, but that will have to be determined at a later date.
Development framework. Unfortunately, in this area, when the council were consulting on the local development framework, it's the same time as the East Thurrock Master Plan was going ahead, and people got some of them confused. Having said that, if I can tell you what the local development framework at the moment hasn't been confirmed, it's actually sitting with government at the moment because it has to be signed off by government. In that local development framework, they highlighted as a possibility or an optional site of release of Greenbelt land some of St Clair's golf course. Having said that, and again, I haven't got enough copies, but I've got 10 up here. I've actually got the defined boundary that is actually in the local development framework. And on first looking at it, whilst it says here that it's not a definitive boundary, basically it means it's not within the closest foot, but it's meant to be indicative of where it's actually going. The size that's actually, size of land that's to be released, if it's approved by government, is half the size of the plot that they intend to develop. So straight, I will throw out the questions. I'll answer that lady's questions there. Barrett's have told you they want to develop 350 houses there. They could have come along and said they want to develop 1,000 houses there.
Which they will.
What I'm saying is, at present, on documentation that is with Thurrock Council are saying that in the whole of Stamford West, they will only allow 328 houses in total to be built on Greenbelt land. So they may be asking that, but they've then got to fight against this policy.
That cannot cope with our surface water and sewage as it stands at the moment. 350 housing units plus whatever they concrete over, drainage or whatever, from this end of Stamford's point of view is going to be catastrophic. Well, I think the big thing is that there are major issues here with traffic, there are major issues with the infrastructure, and the bottom line is, from my point of view, I mean there may be people here that want to see this housing built. I don't think they're in a large majority. But what I need to know is how do we fight these people tooth and nail from now until they give up and go away?
Area in Stamford-le-Oaks West, which that development would have to apply. What they propose over in Corringham doesn't directly relate to any objections we can put in about this place here.
Surely
In an
they'll
overall-
be better over there than what they are over here.
True, that's another, although they have put aside some of the land over there at the Shellhaven refinery to replace greenbelt land that may be taken from other parts of the borough. But
Can I ask you, please, would you care to comment that on the Thurrock Thames Gateway Planning Committee and Projects Committee, there is a gentleman called Richard Reynolds, who is the ex-managing director for East Thurrock Corridor for Barratt Homes.
Very much,
I can still vote.
yes. Right, so the size of this application at the moment will actually be dealt with by the Thurrock Thames Gateway Development Corporation. I cannot give you the exact size that of the planning applications that Thurrock Council can determine. Needless to say that you're looking at issues like this one here, the one that's been mentioned already at Victoria Road. That actually did come before the Thurrock Council Planning Committee last month. That has now been passed through into the hands of the Development Corporation because Thurrock Council strategically are only consultees. Now, the local development framework, in its current context, actually allowed to give greenbelt release. The actual council made a judgment on that in January 2010. So, currently, the Victoria Road plan application has been strategically given the green light onto the Development Corporation to make a final determination on that. Even though
It's know the people on that group.
well,
That's how we local
hand up. Yeah, I've got.
What he says over there, he must have some influence behind closed doors before they go to the vote.
Precisely.
Can I also say that I, like everyone in this room, voted for our council. I didn't have the opportunity to vote for the Thurrock Thames Gateway. There are claim-goers, I said, and I want my council that I vote for to look after the planning in the area I live in. Not
yes. Right, so the size of this application at the moment will actually be dealt with by the Thurrock Thames Gateway Development Corporation. I cannot give you the exact size that of the planning applications that Thurrock Council can determine. Needless to say that you're looking at issues like this one here, the one that's been mentioned already at Victoria Road. That actually did come before the Thurrock Council Planning Committee last month. That has now been passed through into the hands of the Development Corporation because Thurrock Council strategically are only consultees. Now, the local development framework, in its current context, actually allowed to give greenbelt release. The actual council made a judgment on that in January 2010. So, currently, the Victoria Road plan application has been strategically given the green light onto the Development Corporation to make a final determination on that, even though it's only going to be outline planning.
One person, he must have influence, know the people on that group.
Well,
That's how we local
hand up. Yeah, I've got.
What he says over there, he must have some influence behind closed doors before they go to the vote.
Precisely.
Can I also say that I, like everyone in this room, voted for our council. I didn't have the opportunity to vote for the Thurrock Thames Gateway. There are claim-goers, I said, and I want my council that I vote for to look after the planning in the area I live in. Not